Hello and welcome to another Behind the Screens episode with me, Logan, and
me, Brandon.
Together, today we're going to be talking about how to terrify your players without even rolling initiative.
Thanks.
Without that being said, what do you got?
First and foremost, when we wanted to start this discussion, the best way to terrify somebody is through sensors.
Boom! Oh.
You got me.
Sorry.
No, hopefully that you weren't wearing headphones. We'll put a little disclaimer on the video there. But no, yeah, the biggest things in order to terrify somebody, I think, is sensories, right? You were able to change the effect of the sound, lighting, feel or touch, maybe through like homemade props, smell, either vocalizing a smell or perhaps if you have a sandalwood and leather candle, maybe that would fit the proponent of terrifying.
Or orc and steel.
Yes, orc and steel.
I'm making that candle.
That's a great idea. But no, finding different ways in order to use ambiance to help control emotions, I think is a really cool thing if you have the ability to do so.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is part of it right there, is having the ability to manipulate your surroundings,
Yes.
to be able to affect the players. Not everybody does play in person. Not everybody
True.
can go mess with the lighting or spend a lot of money on sound and lighting and all sorts of crazy stuff. So sometimes it's just as effective to verbalize those
Absolutely.
things. Tell the players using the descriptions of the senses. Just think like how you would walk into that room. The first thing you do, you're probably going to start seeing things. So always tell the players what they see. But right after that, the next one is probably hearing or smelling. So are there strong odors? Because that is quite a bit of itself. Like if you're going to terrify somebody, does it smell like roses?
Probably not, no.
No. What's it smell like? Like rot, decay, blood, anything.
Smell of iron. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely anything. Just off the cuff senses are going to start terrifying your players.
Yeah, and where all those elements kind of tie into like your tone of voice and your cadence on how you say things, you know, making sure that you are speaking with a nice calm approach and you're describing the situation and kind of keeping those character or your players at the edge of their seat just waiting on the next word to come is very important. With that being said too, also maybe we should also give a mild disclaimer, like you don't obviously have to, you don't describe every single room every single time. That's not what we're trying to say. It's in those moments when it's very important and crucial to set that scene. Your players are ready. When you start to set a scene, your players are also looking forward to it because they know that when you do this, it's go time and something really cool is happening. And so now they're really invested in it, you know, because they're not getting word vomit all the time because every single time they go somewhere, you're describing everything so much, you know, to where it just kind of gets lost in translation.
Yeah.
I feel like I should kind of throw that out there.
No, absolutely.
So.
And part of that too is not only just setting the scene, but setting their nerves on edge with the scene.
Correct.
You're using those senses to describe and build it, but not just to give them a mental picture. It's to truly terrify them. Whether that's the players themselves that you've terrified, or if they're role-playing, the player characters.
Yeah, and could be a combination of both.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's a good point too, is as a DM, if you're trying to terrify your players, I would start by figuring out what the player characters are terrified of themselves. Does a character have a certain fear? Or do they have a recurring villain that certain things always happen? You know, I don't know, maybe like my mind immediately goes to Kung Fu Panda 3, or maybe it's 4, with Kai. The villain that every time he enters, it's just the most incredible song. And I like, it just gives me goosebumps thinking about it, because every time he enters, it starts with the song, and you know who's about to come.
Yeah.
Is there that person or thing in your campaign for those players where it doesn't have to be a song, it doesn't have to be anything, it could be a sound, you know, or even like you describe the earth shaking. I remember one time I was playing for you, and we had just fought a purple worm for the first time ever. The first time I had ever fought a purple worm.
Throwback.
And now I am terrified of the ground shaking. Like, that's how you introduced the purple worm the first time, was the ground was rumbling, and I think I was a wizard at the time, and I took off flying, right? I was like, I'm not going to be in contact with this shaking ground. And then, of course, this purple worm erupts and eats my entire party, and I'm the ding-dong that's just flying around going, whoops, what am I dealing with this, right? But I was terrified from then on. The moment he said that, the ground starts shaking. Oh, I know it's coming, and fly spell's ready, but I can't just cast it on myself anymore.
Yeah.
You know, I was terrified in that moment because I knew what's about to come. And sometimes it wasn't even a purple worm, or sometimes it didn't even come after us. It was something else, like it was diverted near us, but just the threat of it being there.
I was gonna say that.
Goodness, I still don't want to fight a purple worm.
That's also the really cool part too, is when you find that successful opportunity to terrify your players, being able to revitalize certain adjectives or certain situations that can be very similar to that, but be completely different, also helps set a standard a little bit to keeping them on their edge. Okay, so pulling it back a little bit here, when we talked about timing, learning the perfect cadence and practice timing, I think, is one of the most important things, because that's what sets the tone when you're describing everything. So it's being able to control how you present is ultimately the big one, which comes with age and more availability of DMing behind the screen.
Yeah, absolutely. Just being able to know when to deliver the punchline or the terror, whatever it be, is just about as important as how you deliver it. You know, if you're just sitting there talking like this and it just happens, you didn't even take the time to process.
Sure.
But if your players are waiting on every single one of your words, they're already on edge. You're one step closer.
Yeah, and I think when you get that cadence down, then you can start to play with. I always think, and we discussed this as players. As a player, we've all hopefully played. Sometimes you're a forever DM, and sorry for that. But you're always afraid of what you don't know.
Oh yeah.
What you're unaware of. That's what you're afraid of. As a player, no matter what. I mean, because if you don't know, when you stepped in a room and a DM just described a bloodbath of a scene, right? And there's scratch marks everywhere, and there's blood on everything, and there's clothes and torns, but you don't see no bodies, and you see no bad creature or bad guy that did this. What could that be? This is all fresh. This just happened. What is this? What did we walk into? Am I in trouble? Are we going to get in trouble for this? Or are we about to be arrested because they think we killed somebody? Or are we about to die because something's going to come back in here and kill us? Now the player is rapidly thinking, and you can use that unaware, or not unaware. What I just went blank.
The fog of war, essentially.
Ultimately that.
Yeah. You can use that to your advantage for sure.
Yeah, the unknown, not unaware, the unknown.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Because that also just sets your players' imagination rolling, but it gives you the time to keep their imagination rolling. If they're already there, if they're already unsure, keep letting them think. You don't have to tell them anything.
Yes.
You just keep that suspense there of what exactly is the answer, of what the threat is. Keep that hidden as long as you possibly can.
And sometimes it's better to say less than it is to say more. You can over-describe, over-analyze for your players. Sometimes it's best to just give them those couple tidbits of information and set that scene, and then go hands off. Let them start to talk and go back and forth, and let them run, because it might give you a little bit of maybe a good idea of, to change or help what their brain's moving towards, help tie that to that story part,
Absolutely. And definitely that. Let the players, whatever they say or what they think, use it. Because they're already thinking that you've put them in that place there. So run with it. Of course, your idea might be great, But the players are the one that are experiencing the story, so lean into that. Sometimes you have to think on your heels a little bit or think on your toes to adapt. Don't throw away your plans, just on the whim because your character or one of your players had some funky idea that you kind of like. Store it in the back of your head, whatever you need be, but know that your players are the ones living that story. You're just the one telling that.
And when you get that element of, stepping back, when you get tension, do everything in your power to keep that tension. Because the tension and suspense go hand in hand in those moments. And so if you can keep the height and do everything you can to allow your players to stay at that elevated state of suspense, that just gives you more time to kind of like sit back and enjoy those moments.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And it's also part of that is knowing when to take a break from the session or when to completely call the session and leave it on a cliffhanger. Sometimes cliffhangers are really unsatisfying. Sometimes they have you thinking about that next game for however long that time period is. Hopefully it's a week or less.
Yeah.
If it's longer, hopefully you're thinking about it the entire time. On the flip side, sometimes cliffhangers have the opposite effect. They have that time to go home and think about it, rationalize it. Worst case, maybe they Google whatever the heck you were talking about.
Yeah.
And then they go, man, I'm scared of a worm? No chance I'm scared of a worm.
True. Yeah, which you always take that gamble.
Yeah.
That is definitely true. And that is a good way of talking about it too, is terrifying kind of goes beyond just the word terrifying. It goes to the extent of like, at what point can you make your players just continually keep guessing what's coming? The potential of what is to be.
Fear of the unknown.
Yeah.
It speaks volumes. Really does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think we'd love to know what you do in your game.
Yeah.
These are some of the things that we've just discussed that we utilize and try to. What do you do in your game? Let us know. Get in the comments. Tell us what terrifies your players. What have you found?
Yeah. Tips, tricks, share them with the fellow DMs out there, or just ask advice.
Yeah. We'll answer everything we can, and let's start a little discussion.
Absolutely.
Hey, make sure you tune in on Mondays for our player discussions. On Wednesdays, we have our podcast called Commander's Log. And on Fridays, for our Dungeon Master discussions.
Right here.
Right here.
Behind the screen.
See you guys.